members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission who have been appointed in consultation with the Council of State. Their CVs are attached herewith. Nnamonso AKNM, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State, South. Mahmoud Abubakar Magaji, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Niger State, North Central. It is my hope that the Senate will consider and confirm the nominees in the usual expeditious manner. Please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari. Another letter from Mr. President. Another letter from Mr. President as the new non-executive commissioner of the Nigerian Communications Commission. Pursuant to Section 8, Subsection 1 of the Nigerian Communications Act, I write to forward for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of Professor Mansur Awalu Bindawa as non-executive commissioner of the Nigerian Communications Commission. His CV is attached herewith. While it is my hope that the Senate will consider and confirm the nominee in the usual expeditious manner, please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari. Letter from distinguished Senator Obong Chris Ekpeyon, PhD, FNSE, FNIM, Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District, Vice Chairman Senate Committee on Water Resources. The Senate President, message of appreciation, prayers, goodwill messages, supports, gifts, and the physical attendance of some of them during my son's marriage ceremonies that took place December last year in my hometown in Akwa Ibom State. May I also express my special appreciation to Senator Ibrahim Shekarau for his hefty gift, support, and physical presence also, and Senator Basi Albert for their gifts, support, and inspiring goodwill messages which greatly spiced up my mood during the ceremonies. I wish to also express my profound appreciation to Senator Eniana Abaribe and the entire Senate PDP caucus for their gifts, supports, and prayers during the events which went further to give me a sense of belonging within my party. May I also extend my special appreciation to my younger sister, Senator Eko Ayahinyi, for her gift, support, wise counsel, and her physical presence that helped to add dignity and motherly flavor to the ceremonies. Since I became a member of these hallowed chambers of the 9th Senate as your distinguished colleague on June 2019, I have received nothing less than profound show of love from you. You showed great love to me when my dear wife, Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Grace Ekpeyon, passed away in 2019, shortly after my inauguration into the Senate. You have also demonstrated the same measure of love to me again during these recent marital ceremonies of my son, Mr. Emmanuel C. Ekpeyon. It was William Arthur Ward who said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a beautiful present and not giving it to the beneficiary. Distinguished colleagues, my only gift to you is to openly express my gratitude to you for always standing by me and showing love to me and my family when it matters most. Thank you, and God bless you all. Yours sincerely, signed His Excellency Senator Chris Ekpeyon, PhD, FNSE, FNIM, FNIEEE, Akwa Ibom West Senatorial District. Birthday announcement. I wish to congratulate the following senators, our distinguished colleagues who celebrated their birthdays when the Senate was on Christmas and the New Year recess. Distinguished Senator Kabir Barkia, day was 23rd December. Birthdays, we have Senator Ibrahim Gobir, 1st January, Senator Binos Yaro, 1st January, Senator Adamu Muhammad Aliru, 1st January. Distinguished Senator Stella Odua, 5th January. Distinguished Senator Aliyu Sabi, the Deputy Chief Whip, 10th January. Distinguished Senator Sabo Mohammed Nakudu, 11th January. Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, the 14th President of the Senate, 12th January. Senator Bello Mandia, 12th January. Distinguished Senator Abubakar Kiari, 15th January. On behalf of the Senate, I wish all of us, the December and January sons and a daughter, long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to our fatherland. Congratulations to all of us. Distinguished colleagues, I now read my short speech to welcome us back from our Christmas and New Year break. My distinguished colleagues, I welcome you back from our Christmas and New Year recess. I believe that the recess gave us the opportunity to celebrate the festivities with our families and loved ones. My distinguished colleagues, before we went on the recess, we considered and passed the appropriation bill on the 22nd day of December 2021, and that will be the third consecutive time to pass the annual appropriation bill before the end of the year. The bill was signed into law on 31st of December 2021 by Mr. President to give the desired effect of starting the implementation of the budget from January 2022. Distinguished colleagues, I once again commend the Senate and indeed the National Assembly and the executive arm of government for working tirelessly to maintain the instituted January to December budget cycle. My distinguished colleagues, as we all know, the oversight on the implementation of the budget is a critical function of the National Assembly. We must therefore strategize on effective oversight of the implementation of the 2022 budget. This is going to be the last budget that will be fully implemented for 12 months in the life of the 9th Senate. We therefore need to supervise very closely. But distinguished colleagues, funding of the 2022 budget is predicated on significant borrowing. Our country is caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. We have to construct and provide infrastructure in all parts of our country because infrastructure is needed for our nation to develop. However, we do not generate enough revenues to fund the provision of such infrastructure. Until more revenues are generated, the country has to borrow and also resort to other sources of funding our infrastructural development. But we cannot continue to borrow endlessly. It is imperative that we need to improve on the revenue to gross domestic product ratio. At about 8% revenue to GDP ratio, our country is basically at 50% of what is required of the revenue to GDP of 15% for it to support any significant economic development. My distinguished colleagues, the Senate will develop a strategy of engagement with revenue generating agencies on how to make them achieve their targets and generate more revenues in 2022. The Senate will ensure that we boost their revenue generating drive with a view to reducing borrowing for development of our much needed infrastructure. This is a major challenge for our development and we need to treat it as such. Distinguished colleagues, the Petroleum Industry Act PIA 2021 was enacted with a view to providing better investment climate for better performance by the oil and gas industry. The Senate therefore need to seriously supervise the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act. The Senate therefore need to seriously supervise the implementation of the PIA 2021. We must ensure that our country starts to benefit from the passage of the PIA. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate postponed discussions on the consideration of response of Mr. President on the Electoral Act 2010 Amendment Bill to enable us to consult with our counterparts in the House of Representatives and also consult our constituents. Now we all know the Senate and indeed the National Assembly worked so hard on the bill. Having consulted, the Senate will expeditiously look into the issue. Distinguished colleagues, the security situation in our country is still there. We must remain focused and determined to work with the executive arm of government and also continue to support our armed forces and security agencies. We must continue to prioritize the security and welfare of our citizens as enshrined in our Constitution. I urge us not to be discouraged by the situation. We should make this year as the year for the final securing of our nation from the numerous security challenges. Distinguished colleagues, the review of the 1999 Constitution is a major plank of our legislative agenda. Our committee on review of the 1999 Constitution has done so much work so far. Working with their counterparts in the House of Representatives, the report of the committee will be presented to the Senate for consideration soon. The Senate will consider the report and the National Assembly will communicate to the State House of Assembly within the first quarter of this year. Distinguished colleagues, political activities leading to 2023 general elections have already started. This Senate should continue to provide the support that the Independent National Electoral Commission needs for successful elections across the country. Distinguished colleagues, most of our colleagues will be running for various political offices in 2023. I wish all our distinguished colleagues easy victories and success at the polls. In conclusion, I thank all our distinguished colleagues for remaining focused and firm in our determination to deliver services to our country. Thank you for listening. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Petitions. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House bill stated in my name on the harmonized retirement.
Okay. Harmonized retirement age for teachers in Nigeria Bill 2020 HB 1381 first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill saying in the name of distinguished Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar on the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, Act Cap A26, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, Amendment Bill 2022. Mr. President, may we invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN Act Cap A26, LFN 2004 Amendment Bill 2022, SB 885 first reading.
Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN Act and Act Cap A26 Elephant 2004 Amendment Bill 2022 SB 808 first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill saying in the name of distinguished Senator Muhammad Sani Musa on the Fire Service Act No. 11, 1963, Spill and Rearrangement Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Fire Service Act No. 11, 1963, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2022, SB 888, first reading.
Fire Service Act No. 11, 1963, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2022, SB 888, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Muhammad Sani Musa on the Freedom of Information Act 2010 Amendment Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Freedom of Information Act 2010 Amendment Bill 2022 SB 892, first reading.
Freedom of Information Act 2010 Amendment Bill 2022 SB 892, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of a bill saying in the name of distinguished Senator Smart Adeyemi on the Advanced Rent Residential Apartments Office Space Etc. Regulation Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Advanced Rent Residential Apartments Office Spaces Etc. Regulation Bill 2022 SB 893, first reading.
Advanced Rent Residential Apartments Office Spaces ETC Regulation Bill 2022 SB 893, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the second reading of the Chartered Risk Management Institute (RIMAN) Bill 2022. The distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this distinguished chamber on Wednesday, 1st December 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the distinguished Senator Tolulope Odebi to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Tolu Odebi of West.
Thank you, Mr. President. My very able, distinguished, and esteemed colleagues, a very happy new year to all of us. Mr. President, today I rise to lead the debate on a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Risk Management Institute. This bill is co-sponsored by my colleague, Senator Tokunbo Abiru, Lagos East. Mr. President, my highly distinguished and esteemed colleagues, permit me to lead this debate on this very important bill, which seeks to provide for the establishment of the Chartered Risk Management Institute, Nigeria. Introduction. Risk management is multidisciplinary in nature as it connects all fields of human endeavor. It is a structured approach to managing uncertainty through risk identification, assessment, and developing strategies to manage and mitigate it using managerial resources. Risk management skills are very limited in the corporate and public sectors in Nigeria. Strong risk management institution and legislation is needed to bring to bear the expertise of industry risk practitioners by professionalizing risk management. The lessons learned from the various global and national financial crises have taught policymakers, corporate bodies, and individuals the important role of implementing excellent risk management practices. The various banking crises and failures in Nigeria can largely be attributed to failed risk management practices and corporate governance. There have also been notable corporate collapses and scandals in the non-financial sector that were attributed to lack or failure to implement sound risk management practices. History is replete with major global corporations that collapsed due to poor risk management and corporate governance. The Institute. The proposed Chartered Institute Central Curriculum as regards risk management will focus mainly on financial risk and non-financial risks. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is imperative to note that the Risk Management Association of Nigeria, RIMAN, has been at the forefront of risk management in Nigeria, leading to the establishment of certified risk managers, professional exam. This was done in collaboration with CIBN and their postgraduate diploma PGD in risk management in collaboration with the University of Lagos, which also includes the creation of credit bureaus and other capacity building programs. Furthermore, I want to expressly state to Mr. President and distinguished colleagues that RIMAN has the support of key private and public institutions in Nigeria, such as the NDIC, the CBN, KPMG, the SEC, AMCON, NGX Limited, the FRS, Deloitte, and thoroughly comprehensive institute saddled with the professionalizing risk management and raising professionals, stakeholders involved in the process of best practice in risk management. As part of its fundamental functions and objectives, this bill seeks to create a platform which will produce qualified, dedicated, skilled, and professional trained individuals that will be involved in the management of risks in private and public sectors of our country, as well as teach and lecture risk management using international best practices and well-vetted curriculums. Risk management skills are very limited in the corporate and public sectors in the country. Strong risk management institution and legislation is needed to bring to bear the expertise of industry risk practitioners by professionalizing risk management. The Institute will entrench appropriate skill sets required to promote right risk culture in our private and public institutions. It will provide expert opinion and support to public discourse and for making risk-informed decisions. Conclusively, the Institute will regulate its members, set ethical conduct similar with other professional bodies such as ICANN, CIBN, NBA, and set a standard in tandem with global best practices for those that occupy the unique role of ensuring strong risk management practices and acceptable corporate governance in all facets of our society. It will assist our public and private institutions to acquire the right capacity, skills, and knowledge to achieve the right risk environment for national development, while assisting our educational institutions in the advancement of risk management education in Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it will interest you to know that there are no financial implications of these on the federal government of Nigeria. I urge you all to support the speedy passage of this bill. Thank you very much.
Distinguished Senator Tokumbo Abim.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Okayelade Tokumbo Abim, Lagos East. I rise to support the bill as proposed by my colleague, Senator Tolu Lope Odebi. My support for this bill arises from the fact that, as we are all aware, the impact of COVID in particular has affected most businesses globally, and by extension, it has also challenged some of the loans that we have in the financial sector of the country. And with the passage of this bill, it will strengthen and support some of the concessions and also the backlash that may arise from the concessions and forbearances that have been given by the regulators. So, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I support the bill as presented. Thank you very much.
Is anybody against the bill? Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act established the Chartered Risk Management Institute of Nigeria, RIMAN, and for other related matters 2022 SB 705, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Chartered Risk Management Institute of Nigeria, RIMAN, and for other related matters 2022, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the second reading of the National Research and Innovation Council Establishment Bill 2022. The distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this distinguished chamber on Tuesday, 29th June 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Frank Chikuma Ibezim to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Ibezim Frank Chikuma.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. The debate on a bill for an act to establish the National Research and Innovation Council, the National Research and Innovation Foundation, and for related matters 2022 SB 758. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I wish to express my profound appreciation for the opportunity to lead the debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the National Research and Innovation Council, National Research and Innovation Council Foundation, and for related matters. You may recall that this bill was read for the first time on Tuesday, 29 June 2021. Intendment of the bill. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill is neither intended to promote duplication of research efforts nor establish any new unwieldy bureaucracy on the subject matter of research and innovation. Rather, this bill is intended to provide the necessary legal backing to the existing National Research and Innovation Council, NRIC, inaugurated by the federal government in 2014 as the apex policy body on research and innovation in Nigeria. As you may be aware, the National Research Innovation Council, which was first inaugurated by President Goodluck Jonathan in 2014, is currently constituted by President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, as the chairman, with membership composed of many serving ministers of the Federal Republic. The National Research and Innovation Council, NRIC, has continued to carry out its activities without the enabling law as recommended by the new National Science, Technology and Innovation (STI) policy adopted by the federal government in 2013 to guide the nation on research and innovation. Accordingly, the passage of this bill will bring the activities of NRIC under proper legislative purview to ensure effective oversight, transparency, and accountability. This bill, therefore, seeks to address the challenge of funding research and innovation activities in the country by giving legal recognition to the National Research and Innovation Fund recommended by the STI policy under reference. The proposed funding arrangement under this bill not only seeks to increase funding options for research and innovation in Nigeria, but also seeks to allocate responsibility between the business sector and government regarding funding of particular levels of research with emphasis on developmental research as opposed to basic research, which predominates research undertakings in Nigeria at the moment. It should be emphasized that the National Research and Innovation Fund proposed under this bill
is in tandem with the recommendation of the STI policy of the federal government. It provides a designated pool of funds for providing competitive grants for research and innovation in Nigeria based on areas of national priority as may be prescribed by the National Research Agenda of the NRIC. The bill equally makes adequate provision for the funding of the operational and other activities of the NRIC. Similarly, the proposed bill seeks to provide the necessary legal framework that will facilitate the creation of intellectual property and address existing gaps between research findings and the commercialization of viable patent research products. It is noteworthy that commercially viable research products published by the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology since 2004 still remains on the paper or unutilized by industrialists, yet government has not relented in funding of research and endeavors of the various MDAs. Indeed, funding of research in the country by government exists even as the research undertakings by government research institutes are still predominantly limited to basic research. The implication of the proposed bill on existing research laws and institutional frameworks. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the provisions of this bill are based on the recommendations of the new STI Policy 2012. As such, the National Research and Innovation Council and the other structures provided by the bill are not in conflict with the existing research laws and institutions in Nigeria. The National Research and Innovation Council is expected to drive national research and development on all fronts while preserving and respecting the individual mandates and responsibilities of the line ministries and agencies of government. Principally, the National Research and Innovation Council, which is under the chairmanship of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has a statutory mandate to, amongst other things, A, set national priorities on research in the country, and B, set directions to coordinate research and development activities in line with national priorities. Accordingly, while the various research conflicts will continue to exist and their individual mandates respected, their research activities will be guided by the research priorities of the nation as may be prescribed by the National Research and Innovation Council through a national research agenda. With respect to the role of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, it is important to state that in line with the recommendations of the new STI policy, that the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology shall remain a service ministry of government with a mandate to interact with all relevant agencies and organizations, synergizing and promoting the applications of STI in all sectors of the economy. In view of the foregoing, I wish to appeal to my distinguished colleagues to support the passage of this bill in compliance with the Order 773 of the Senate Standing Orders 2015 as amended. A financial compendium indicating the financial cost for the implementation of this bill is attached for your kind consideration. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Smart Ademiko, U.S.
Mr. President, I rise to support this bill by my good friend and brother Frank Shukuma. Mr. President, looking at the challenges confronting our country today, we must be looking at how we can open more frontiers in the area of the economy and creating job opportunities. What this bill seeks to do is to provide a framework, a legal framework towards research and innovation. There is the saying that necessity is the mother of invention. Now that there is a global economic recession, this is the appropriate time for us to give adequate attention to innovation and research work. Not just, Mr. President, has been demanded by this bill, but indeed, our institutions of learning, the universities. This is time for us to make sure that enough funding is provided for research work and innovation, which will guarantee economic development of our nation and job creation. I hold the view, Mr. President, that what this bill seeks to do is what I know that all of us will be very much pleased with, to give our support. If enough funding is given to innovation and research work, a lot of things will be achieved by way of job creation and reducing some of our dependence on foreign goods and services. I'm equally happy that effort is equally being proposed, that there is need for intellectual property to be enhanced and protected. This bill, Mr. President, is a welcome development, which I think all of us will support. I hereby submit, Mr. President, that this bill be allowed to scale for the third reading.
Deputy Leader.
My name is Robert Borofis, representing Ondo North Senatorial District. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to support that this bill be read the second time. And I want to identify myself with the views of the last speaker, my brother, Senator Adeyemi. Mr. President, there are two issues raised in this debate. The issue of funding of research and the issue of intellectual property. Mr. President, it is obvious, as you can see, that there is a correlation between investment in research and development and income per capita all over the world. The more you invest in research, the more the return on investment in terms of economic development. Science, technology, mathematics, innovation drives advancement in industry and economic development. We have a peculiar situation here in Nigeria where we are doing research in envelopes. There is nowhere in the world where research is done in envelope. And therefore it is very important that we support this bill, which is making provision for funding of research adequately. Without adequate funding, we cannot achieve much in the area of research, and it's going to stunt our development. I'm also thrilled that the issue of intellectual property. And this is the only way we can protect our innovations, our inventions, that will guarantee return on investment in terms of development and other issues. Mr. President, I fully support that the bill be read the second time. Thank you.
Deputy Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I'm Aliu Sabi Abdullahi. I represent Niger North Senatorial District. Mr. President, let me commend the sponsor of this bill and to say that from beginning, I support that this bill be read the second time. But because we are discussing at this stage of the process the fundamental basis of this bill, it suffices to say that this is not the first time this bill is having a sojourn in this chamber. From information available to me, I know it was in this chamber in the 8th Senate, ditto in the 7th Senate. Therefore, there must be something fundamentally wrong that made it impossible for this bill to get to the end of the tunnel. And I think it is on these notes I would like to make one or two statements or contributions so that perhaps when the committee gets to look at it at their committee level, they should begin to look at some of these gray areas so that these issues are resolved. First, there must be consistency. The Federal Minister of Science and Technology
has a policy that says science, national science, technology and innovation, policy. And so, when you say you want the mandate for this body to serve as apex for research, that is too sweeping. Research in what? So I think these are some of the areas that perhaps, yes, in the debate here, the sponsor alluded to the fact that they are trying as much as possible to see that the bill is not in conflict with other, existing, what did they call it? I think somewhere in the second page, he indicated clearly that the provisions of this particular bill will not be in conflict with existing research councils or research bodies. And I think while you are saying so, it must also be substantiated by provisions within the context of the bill. Now, from my experience, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, for example, has the Raw Material Research and Development Council. And the Raw Material Research and Development Council has a steady, guaranteed funding stream. We would like to see what is the relationship between what that council is doing and what this particular Research and Innovation Council will be doing. So I think these are some of the gray areas that I've seen within the context of what this bill seeks to do. And at the end of the day, we should also remember you are trying to create another funding stream in this bill. And so we must also look at duplicity. The third point is there. They are also having provisions for funding. And overall, you are either funding research at the level of the research institutes or at the level of the university. So I think these are the areas that we must look at. And at the end of the day also, it will be good that the Senate Committee on Science and Technology goes back to find out what happened. Is this bill among those we passed but was rejected by Mr. President with certain reasons? I think there was a committee that actually did a very beautiful work to look at all the bills that were not signed and the reasons why they were not signed, and we took some action to make corrections on them so that they go back there, and with that we will not be reinventing the wheel. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the objective of the bill is laudable, but I think we must be careful to know that when you say research, the question is research in what? And there are other sectors that are having their own type of research, and we must ensure that we are not getting into waters that we will not be able to swim into. I think these are my few comments. With this, Mr. President, I support that this bill be read the second time.
Is anybody against the bill? Those who vote that this bill be now read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Research and Innovation Council, National Research and Innovation Foundation, and for other related matters, 2022, SB 758, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the National Research and Innovation Council, National Research and Innovation Foundation, and for other related matters, 2022, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Science and Technology to report by within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Aviation on the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology Act, N96, Laws of the Affairs of Nigeria, 2004, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2022. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Thursday, 19th March 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Smart Adeyemi, Chairman of the Committee on Aviation, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished colleagues, who is the we all gotten the report? Distinguished Senator Smart Ademi, Distinguished Senator Smart Ademi.
Mr. President, I rise to move the motion, Mr. President, that the Senate do consider the bill and act to repeal the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology Act, CAP N96, Law of the Federation of Nigeria, 2010, and to enact the Nigeria College of Aviation Technology to provide for its organization, control, and operations, and for related matters, 2022 SB 193. Mr. President, I so move.
Distinguished colleagues, I need someone to second this. Your Excellency, Distinguished Senator Biodo Olujimi.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion as moved by the chairman of the Committee on Aviation. I so second, Mr. President.
So, distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do consider the vote of the Committee on Aviation on the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished Senator Smart Ademi, present the report. No, it's you are presenting, not relaying. So that's why I'm saying you should present. Chairman Aviation. Yeah, we have approved for you to present it. So read the part of the report that you want us to hear.
This bill is seeking some amendments to enhance the operation and the upgrade of the College of Aviation Technology area for more efficiency and to equally ensure that the school to a large extent can generate some revenue. This bill is equally seeking, Mr. President, for an upgrade of the institution to be able to award high diploma in various aspects of the aviation industry. Mr. President, it's my interest to know that this institution was established well over about 50 years ago in Zaria and is one of the oldest professional institutions in Nigeria. Taking a look at the ever-increasing and expansion of the aviation industry, Mr. President, it is important for the College of Aviation area to be upgraded so that modern equipment that are needed for the industry can be provided and the required manpower for the industry will be produced and enhanced for this college. Mr. President, the Aviation College in Zaria is one college that is not just taking care of the aviation industry of Nigeria, but quite a number of West African countries do send their personnel to train at the Aviation College in Zaria. This bill, Mr. President, is seeking to take into consideration the challenges.
You can go to the recommendation.
No, you just say let it be considered and approved.
Mr. President, we hereby propose that this bill be considered and approved by the Senate and passed into law as recommended by the committee. I so move, Mr. President.
Any contributions? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move that this Senate resolve in the committee of the whole to consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion as moved.
Those in favor that this Senate resolves into committee of the whole to consider the report say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, this bill has 49 clauses. Most of it retained, some amended. Those in favor of clauses 1, 2, and 3 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 4 those who are at clause 4 on page 9, clause 5, clause 6, clause 7 and clause 8 on page 12 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 9 on page 14, clause 10 joint council, clause 11 and clause 12. Those in favor that those clauses 9, 10, 11 and 12 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 13 on page 17. We are on page 17. Clause 14, clause 15 and clause 16. Clause 16 is on page 30. Those in favor of those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 17, clause 18, clause 19 and clause 20 on page 36. Those in clause 22, clause 23, application of the Pensions Reform Act, clause 24, funds of the college. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 25 on page 47, clause 26, application of fund, clause 27 and clause 28. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 29, traveling allowances on page 50, clause 30, clause 31, clause 32. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 33, clause 34, commissioning of pilots and other professionals, clause 35 and clause 36 on page 55, 56. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 37, restriction on disposal of landed property on page 56, clause 38, clause 39, Clause 40, validation of past acts on page 56. Those in favor that clauses 37, 38, 39, and 40 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against any the ayes have it. Clause 41, the seal of the college. Clause 42, Clause 43, and Clause 44, power to make rules. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against any the ayes have it. Clause 45, power to make bylaws and guidelines on page 60. Clause 46, Clause 47, Clause 48. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the short title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the schedules 1 and 2 on page 67 to 79 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the chair reports progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do now revert to plenary to report progress as for second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate reverts to plenary for the chair to report progress say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the report of the Committee on Aviation on the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2022, and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Clause 1 to 47 as recommended. Interpretation as recommended. Short title as recommended. Schedules as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
President, to move that this bill be read the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second that the bill be read a third time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that this bill be now read the third time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology Act, CAF N96, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2010, and enacts the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology to provide for its organization, control and operation, and for related matters 2022, SB 193, third reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology Act, CAF N96, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2010, and to enact the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology to provide for its organization, control and operation, and for related matters 2022, third reading taken, and the bill is hereby passed. Congratulations, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is a motion standing in my name on the passing of Chief Shonekan GCFR, born on 9th May 1936 and who passed on to the bosom of the Lord on 11th January 2022. Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to move that motion.
You may proceed, Leader.
Senate knows with grief the passage of Chief Ernest Adegunle Oladeyinde Shonekan, GCFR, former head of the interim national government of Nigeria, on 11 January 2022 at the age of 85 years. Senate further notes that Chief Ernest Shonekan, an indigent of Ogun State, was a British-trained lawyer, a consummate administrator, a renowned industrialist, a seasoned businessman and politician, who served as the head of interim national government of Nigeria from August 26, 1993 to November 17, 1993. Senate is aware that Chief Ernest Shonekan was born in Lagos, Nigeria on 9th May 1936. His father was an Abeokuta-born civil servant and he was one of the 6 children born into that family. The Senate is further aware that Chief Shonekan attended CMS Grammar School and Ibobi College, both famous colleges in Lagos State. He also attended the University of London, where he bagged a law degree, after which he was called to the bar. The Senate observes that after being called to the bar, Chief Ernest Shonekan worked at the United Africa Company of Nigeria, the famous UAC, and rose through the ranks to become the chairman and managing director of the company for many years. The Senate recalls that on August 26, 1993, Chief Shonekan was appointed as the head of interim national government of Nigeria by General Ibrahim Babangida, then military president of Nigeria, following his stepping down from office occasioned by the annulment of June 12, 1993 election. The Senate further recalls that 3 months into his administration, Chief Shonekan was overthrown in a palace coup by late General Sani Abacha on 17th November 1993. The Senate is aware that though Chief Shonekan served briefly, his contributions to national development, unity, cohesion, and stability are worthy of note in the annals of our nation. The Senate knows that in 1994, he founded the Nigerian Economic Council Senate Group, an advocacy group and think tank for the private sector-led development of the Nigerian economy. The Senate further notes that Chief Shonekan thereafter featured prominently as a cherished leader and a respected elder statesman who epitomized service to humanity and the nation. The Senate is convinced that Chief Ernest Shonekan was a self-made Nigerian who dedicated his life to the growth and stability of Nigeria, as evidenced in his public and private life. And the Senate observes that Chief Shonekan was, until his passing, married to Chief Mrs. Margaret Shonekan, and they had 4 children. Accordingly, the Senate resolves to 1. Observe 1 minute silence in honor of this great Nigerian. 2. Urge the federal government to immortalize this great leader and businessman. And 3. Send a delegation to control of the family and the government of Ogun State accordingly. I therefore submit, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Tolu Odebi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Senate leader on this passage of Chief Ernest Shonekan, GCFR. Mr. President, permit me to express my condolences and sympathies on behalf of the the State Senate Caucus that is led by Senator Bukule Amusu, myself, and Senator Mustafa, to the country and to the good people of the State on the loss of this illustrious son, a nationalist, an icon, and the former head of the interim government of the country. As was said, Chief Shonekan was an astute businessman, he was a lawyer, he was an industrialist, and he contributed enormously to the socio-economic development of this country. One of his lasting legacies is Nigerian Economic Summit Group, which he founded and still today is contributing positively to the economic development of our country. I think Chief Shonekan will always be remembered for putting country first before self when he offered himself for service at a very, very difficult time for our country when the country was at the crossroad. Despite all odds, he was a gentleman par excellence, very exemplary, well trained, and I believe that the country has been proposed by the leader should immortalize him and also give him the needed respect. To this, once again, I would like to express our condolences to the country and to the people of the state on the loss of this illustrious son, and we pray that his soul rest in peace. Thank you very much.
The minority whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Let me start by condoling the very good people of Ogun State on the demise of this nationalist and statesman. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Chief Ernest Shonekan came in at the time that Nigeria needed him most and at the time that there were problems and there were national issues, and he was brought in as the interim the transitional national government at the time. Mr. President, Chief Ernest Shonekan is somebody that I grew up to know very well, and through my parents and through my in-laws, because first his ADC was the senior brother of my wife. I'm saying this because I want to go a little bit into history. And 3 months after knowing him, the ADC passed away. And after the ADC passed away, Chief Ernest Shonekan, because of his closeness to the family and with his relationship with both my parents and, in fact, my father-in-law, decided to take the children of the ADC at that time because he had barely known him. But he paid their school fees and continued to do that without really knowing them and without really knowing these children until his death. And these children, Chido and Naomi, lived with me, and so I had to have a contact with him because I had to always tell him their welfare and to tell him how they were faring and to tell him how they were doing. Mr. President, this is somebody who accepted people from all walks of life and from all over the country. And for him to have done that steadily for almost 30 years, keeping with faith and keeping with the promise for his ADC at that time, you can see what kind of man Ernest Shonekan was. Your Excellency, I've had various personal relationships with him because of these children, and not only because of these children, but because of family relationship. Your Excellency is somebody that will miss very well, and we take solace in the fact that he's going to rest with God Almighty. Every soul must test death. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Okay, Deputy Leader, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to add my voice on tribute in respect of Chief Ernest Shonekan, GCFR. As we're all aware, Shonekan came at a time that the country was facing great turbulence. And it was actually the wisdom of the president then to manage the damage control occasioned by the annulment of June 12. And the choice was quite perfect. Aside from being a boardroom guru, Shonekan carved for himself an image that should be emulated by Nigerians. He was an enigma in selfless service, to say the least. And as he had said, or he was quoted to have said, he never lobbied for a job, it came, and in humility, he submitted to the will of God. This is selflessness. He never put in any fight to challenge the annulment of the interim government that was put in place by the military of General Babangida. And we will meet him as an example of humility, a character that was meant to foster great unity between the private and the public sector. The think tank that he put in place, the Nigerian Economic Summit, though never flourished under his supervision, but it lived to be a very beneficial instrument before our nation that caused a lot of prosperity, that brought about a lot of prosperity in managing the economy of our nation. I join millions of Nigerians, not only Ogun State, not only Nigeria, but Africa as a country will miss his wisdom.
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I'm Senator Kabiruga from Kano South. Mr. President, thank you very much for giving the opportunity to say a word or two on my former head of state. When he was the head of state, I worked with him as a governor of Kano State for 3 months before we were booted out by the military. Both himself and us as governors and state assembly members, the government was overthrown and were asked to go home.
And you went home?
And we had no alternative but to go home. When they had told Mr. Abacha, when they do coup, they generally send governors to Kirikiri, but we're happy to say our own team were only asked to go home. So, Mr. President, I have to say that I worked with the head of state, Senator His Excellency Ernest Shonekan, who was a complete gentleman and a good leader. Anytime we had a problem in those period of time he was in office, we do consult him and he advised us wisely based on experience at the private sector and the way the government is run. We really appreciated working with him during those periods. And after he left office, we still remain friends. And I think this is a person that Nigeria lost, and we have earned a lot from him to serve this country. So may his soul rest in peace. And Mr. President, I agree with all the prayers that have been listed below. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Barrow Jibrin. You are raising your hand. This is your motion now. This is your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Barrow Jibrin. I'm from Kano State. I represent Kano North in this August Senate. Mr. President, I join my colleagues to extend my condolences to the immediate family and associates, and indeed the entire Nigerian people, for the loss of Chief Shonekan. Shonekan served this country with distinction. He served in the private sector where he worked for several years, where he rose through the ranks to become a managing director of the
foremost company in this country. He did not stop at that. He later became the chairman of that company. Thereafter, he became chairman of the interim government that was introduced to us by General Babangida when he was about to leave power. Mr. President, this man was a nationalist, a man who did very well in the service of this country. My close encounter with him was when he came to Kano State to commission some projects that were done by the administration of Kwankwaso. I saw in him as someone that was a true leader who, anytime he spoke, his speeches were laced with wisdom, and he was giving inspiration to younger Nigerians in the way and manner he spoke at that time. He's someone that we should pray for, that may God allow him to rest in perfect peace. I say submit.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, my name is Oluremi Tinubu, representing Lagos Central Senatorial District. I rise to align myself with my colleagues who spoke earlier to celebrate the life of a distinguished and quintessential Nigerian, a distinguished elder statesman, a great man. I've had the opportunity of sitting closely with him, especially at events, and it will surprise you that mostly he's in church services. I know he lives greater part of his life in Lagos, so I've had the opportunity to run into him and his wife and possibly sit close to them. He's always been very kind. But what really inspires me most about Chief Ernest Shonekan is that he's a very doting husband, and for a man who has been married to the same woman for over 60 years, I think is such a person for young Nigerians to emulate, and will miss a great role model for Nigerians in a country that having role models is very different. The coloration is different now. It has to be affiliated with money. But this man was quite honorable. So I think he will be greatly missed. He lived very well to the ripe age of 85. And I would offer my condolences to the family and the wife that he left behind. I also had the opportunity of going to pass on a personal condolence visit. He's really missed by his family. I can attest to that. He must have been a very good man to them, and he will be sorely missed. So I pray that his gentle soul rest in perfect peace and control the family that he
Thank you very much, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Godwin Olujimi, Ekiti South. Mr. President, I rise to join millions of Nigeria, and especially our colleagues here, who are celebrating the life of this elder statesman who just passed on, Chief Ernest Adekunle Oladende Shonekan GCFR. Mr. President, over the years, anytime I needed to refer to a man who left the private sector and made a success of political governance, I usually referred to Chief Ernest Shonekan. he was a man who came in from the boardroom and for a few months made success and repositioned Nigeria. I believe that at a time like this, his short time is an inspiration for all the boardroom gurus who have refused to come into politics to make Nigeria better. And I believe that as Chief Shonekan has inspired all of us and lived a ripe old age, we must celebrate his life and thank God that he was amongst us and made such a great impact. I want to add my voice to commiserate with his family, his friends, the Lagos State government where he grew up and schooled, and of course, the Ogun State government, his land of birth. We wish him safe passage to his maker, and we pray that God will console his immediate family. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Senate President and my distinguished colleagues. If anyone is to recall what happened immediately after the annulment of the June 12th presidential election in this country, and is to recall the level of destruction, distrust, hatred, division that annulment has caused at that time, one is left with no option than to thank those who painstakingly searched and successfully found a patriot in the person of late Chief Shonekan, who surprisingly, using his experience, his in-depth patriotism, was able to settle and readjust the thinking of Nigerians for a better tomorrow within only 3 months of his stewardship as president. That is an extraordinary display of patriotism, of leadership, and commitment to national service. So for that alone, every Nigerian has a debt to pay, and that debt is to recognize the fact that we have lost, like distinguished Senator Oliremi Tinubu has said, a quintessential leader who contributed immensely to the level of stability we are enjoying in this country today. Now, there are people who will die, and then they are making a statement. Since he left office, this gentleman has never, to my knowledge, issued any statement that has tendency to directly or indirectly infuse division in this country. Rather, in every of his outing, he has always played the role of unifying this country. So it is really a great loss to this country. But at the same time, it's a challenge to those of us who aspire to be true leaders in this country, to copy from his conduct and behavior as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His debt will not be in vain, and I join my colleagues and the people of Ogun State and Nigeria in general in commiserating with the family of late Chief Shonekan. May his gentle soul continue to rest in the bosom of the Lord, and may his death serve as a warning to all of us that there is always a time to cry and a time to smile. and that it will be one of us next. Therefore, it is our contribution to this nation that will stand us out as leaders or otherwise. Once again, may the gentle soul of Shonekan rest in the bosom of the Lord. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, before we go to, let's go to the prayers first. The Senate accordingly resolves to observe 1 minute's silence in his honor. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the federal government to immortalize him. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And prayer 3, send a delegation to condole with the Shonekan family, the government and people of Ogun State. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. Before we observe the 1 minute silence, let me join our colleagues who remarked on the death of Chief Ernest Shonekan, the former head of the interim national government of Nigeria. Today we are celebrating this great man because he served our country, and it is that service to our people that will make us feel happy and pleased with ourselves, and also make us part and parcel of leaders that would have served their country meritoriously. The contribution of most of us centered on when he came into office, when he was made the head of the interim national government. That says a lot, because at that time the military was looking for someone who will be acceptable to the civilians and citizens across the country, since things became difficult for the military. And therefore the military authorities at that time, to fish out a gentleman who had shown no signs of going into politics to contest for any leadership position, showed that that was a person that could be a unifier, a peace bringer, and a gentleman that everybody will say, it's okay, this military, they can go, we have someone that could now midwife the democracy for the next dispensation. Therefore, he did what he was expected to do until he was removed. But the point remains that he was a symbol of national unity. Surely at this time, we need people like him with the experience of both the public and private lives to make us march forward as we are determined to do, to make Nigeria better for all citizens. Surely we'll miss him, but God that created him and took him back loved him more than we do. With this, let me call on us to go for a minute silence, to stand up for a minute silence. 1 minute silence, please. may the gentle soul of Chief Adegule Oladende Shonekan GCFR, former head of the interim national government of Nigeria, rest in perfect peace. Amen. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth order of the day is a motion standing in the names of distinguished Senator Mohammed Sani Musa and distinguished Senator Umar Sadiq Suleiman on the recent bandit attack in communities in Shishoro local government area of Niger State. There is an amendment. In Shishoro local government area of Niger State and Kayama local government area in Kwadando Territorial District of Kwara State. There was a mistake, so I hope the Secretariat will amend this particular for our records. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the distinguished Senator Suleiman Sadiq Umar in place of Senator Sam Musa, who is unfortunately absent, to move the motion that has been recorded in their name. I so
Distinguished Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar, Kwara North.
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent the good and the decent people of Kwara North, and we all are. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I rise to move the motion on the recent bandit attack in communities in Shiroro local government area of Niger State and in Kayama in Kwara State, a call for an action. The Senate notes that on Tuesday, 11th January 2022, 13 persons were confirmed killed in an attack by suspected bandits in Shiro local government area of Niger State, just as 4 other persons have been killed in Kayama local government area in the first week of December 2021. The Senate notes also that on Friday, the 14th of January 2022, 5 vigilante members were killed in an attack on a local market and some communities in Shiro local government area of Niger State. Aware that during the deadly operation, a lot of destructions ensued, including many people who sustained multiple gunshot injuries, while many others were kidnapped and taken to unknown destination. Aware also that the assailants attacked villagers who were harvesting crops on their farm in Nakudna village in Shiro Council area and Vera village in Kayama local government area. And the inability of the farmers to harvest their farm produce may likely trigger food scarcity in the states. Notes that the current sad reality is that there is no longer semblance of security in the whole of Latamal axis of Shiro local government area and the game reserve forest in Kayama down to Borgu axis. Regrets that the activities of loggers in the forest reserve area of the Kayama axis have encouraged banditry, insecurity, and kidnapping. Regrets that these attacks by armed groups have continued in the northwest and north central in Niger State, despite repeated government assurance to address the escalating atrocities. Recalls that over 151,380 people, mostly peasant farmers, were displaced by the activities of bandits in the last 2 years. The displaced persons were registered in 13 local government areas of the state, with Rafi Council area neighboring Zamfara and Kaduna topping the chart with 28,987 displaced persons. Concludes that in the Shiro Area Council, where the later incident occurred, over 27,678 persons were displaced within the period, and knows that ongoing bloodletting and destruction of public and private assets by the bandits cannot be allowed to continue. Accordingly, resolves to commend the President, Commander-in-Chief for ordering air bombardment on their areas of operation and the need to extend such operations in the game reserve axis in Kayama local government area. Call on the federal government to declare full-fledged war on these unscrupulous elements since they have been declared as terrorists. Call again on the federal government to establish a military base at Shiroro and Kayama to restore confidence in the security and safety of the affected communities and to safeguard the national assets located within such areas, such as the Shiroro Electric Power Dam. Direct NEMA to provide relief materials and medical team to the victims immediately. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Enagi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my highly respected, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Bima Muhammad Enagi. I represent the people of Niger South from Niger State. I rise to second the motion moved by my brother. I would like to start by commending both the mover, Sani Musa, and also the co-mover, Senator Sadiq, for this motion. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, you can recall that so many times in this chamber we have discussed the issue of insecurity in Niger State, especially Niger East and Niger North. It is true that the security forces are doing their best and that the security situation has improved. But I must tell you, there is much yet to be done. About 5 local government areas in Niger East and 2 local government areas in Niger North are still having serious security challenges. And something needs to be done. We have discussed this matter so many times. All the funding requests that came to the National Assembly had been approved. So what are we doing? Are we going to continue in this insecurity situation in this country? Something drastic needs to be done. Mr. President, my highly respected, distinguished colleagues, I want to advise strongly that the prayers by the mover should be looked into seriously and we should all support it, especially the one about establishment of a military base in Shiroro area, because without a military base in that area, I don't know how security situation will improve. I understand, I was in Mina over the weekend and I was told that some of the communities in Shiroro area have been asked to pay tax to the bandits. You can call them terrorists. They'll be given 1 month to pay about 24 million naira. Are we going to continue? We have a country within a country. We are losing the sovereignty of this country. Something drastic needs to be done. So without taking much of your time, my highly respected colleagues, the President of the Senate, I want to support this motion and I will request appeal to each and every one of you to support this motion. Thank you so much.
Distinguished Senator Princess Stella Odo.
Thank you, Mr. President, dear colleagues. My name is Senator Stella Adeze Odua. I represent Anambra North. Mr. President, dear colleagues, it's really horrifying to hear yet another scary story about banditry and terrorists killing people. And may God forbid that we'll come to a stage in this country where we're going to have a new normal of killing and terrorizing innocent Nigerians. What petrifies me mostly, Mr. President, is the fact that we've done several reports, several critical reports on how to have concise, precise, and strategic method of fighting this terrorism. Up till now, I don't know where those reports are kept. I don't believe that they have been utilized, and I think we need to bring them out from wherever they are and utilize them. Fortunately, Mr. President, you headed two of the teams, and I think Leader headed the second one. These were very extensive studies on how we should combat these bandits, how we can contain them. Nothing has been done till today. When one Nigeria dies on preventable ground, it becomes very, very petrifying. In fact, I don't think there is any state that is safe. Every state has similar incidents. Every state has similar issue to deal with. And I believe that we've discussed this severally in these chambers. What we need to do now is to ensure that all those studies are implemented so we can have seemingly safe nation. Because to think of what will happen otherwise really should petrify all of us. And so, Mr. President, I want to support this, but I think it should be more extensive. It's not about Niger State. It's about the state of the nation. It's about every state, my state inclusive, your state, all our states. Therefore, it's a national problem that requires national response for all the security agencies to come together and combat this. But there must be a strategy. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We go to the press. Prayer 1, commend the presidency in C for ordering air bombardment on their area of operation. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say neither. Prayer 2, call on the federal government to declare a full-fledged war on these unscrupulous elements since they have been declared as terrorists. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say neither. Prayer 3, call again on the federal government to establish a military base at Shiroro to restore confidence in the security and safety of the affected communities and to safeguard the national asset located within the area, such as Shiroro hydroelectric power dam. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say neither. And prayer 4, direct NEMA to provide relief materials and medical team to the victims immediately. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say neither. Leader of the Senate, standing down the others.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to step down the consideration of all other items on our agenda for today to another designated day. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion as moved.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we stand down the consideration of the remaining items on order paper till another legislative day say aye. Those against say neither. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that this distinguished chamber adjourn sitting until tomorrow, the 19th of January 2022. I so move.
Leader, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion for adjournment as moved by the leader.
Before I put the question, there is an announcement. Conference Committee on the Harmonization of the Nigerian Maritime Security Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2021. The membership is as follows: Senator Muhammad Anjuma Goje, Chairman; Senator Tokumbo Abiru, Member; Senator Mpigi Barinada, member. Senator Stella Odua, member. Senator Kabir Barikia, member. Senator Estefanus Giang, member. And Senator Halluri Dauda Jika, member. The distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion by the leader that this Senate do adjourn till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 19th day of January 2022 at 10 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 19th day of January 2022 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you.